Safety first. Alright, got wheel chocks in on both sides. The ass end is jacked up. I have 6-ton jack stands on each side. Yeah. Okay, now when it's jacked up, this is how you got to check it. You jack it up in the air and then you grab the whole slip yoke right here going in the rear end and you move it. See, I can go left and right a little bit and that's perfectly fine. It locks. But to go up, to try to move it up and down, left or right, it has no play. If the pinion bearing was shot in there, this would move. However, I have had issues in the past where this doesn't move, but that pinion bearing's starting to go bad and it'll still start squealing and make noise. But that is not my issue. You see that right there? That's called a carrier bearing. Now, I took the other truck to the gym this morning, so this exhaust shouldn't be hot. Let's touch it. Okay, it's good. So, let me put you down here. Watch that carrier bearing. Ready? Here we go. You watching? See that? Maybe a little closer. Tip you up a little bit, maybe. You see that thing? Ready? That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't have all that play in it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this drive shaft out, and I got all new universals for it yesterday. There's one there, and then there's one up in the front where it goes into the yoke that goes in the back of the transmission. So I got 3 new universal joints, greasable ones, because these aren't, and a whole new carrier bearing, which is that right there. And we weren't sure which carrier bearing I needed, because there's 2 different ones for this truck and they couldn't tell me, so I bought them both, and I will just take back the one I don't need. But these are the new ones. Now some vehicles, what's down there? Race. Some new ones that I have seen, or that I have changed, like I had one on my old Ford F-150. You guys remember all the way back to those videos. When I changed it on that truck, it just slid right off. Whacked it a couple times with a rubber mallet and it came off. But some of these trucks, these Chevys, GMs, you have to use a press and press it on and off. These are just 7/16 bolts right here, holding this on, this drive shaft on. I'm going to spray them, let that pea oil sit on there for a few minutes because I don't feel like fighting with shit today. So I'm going to get these sprayed, let it sit on there. Oh, this can's about boogered up, almost time for a new one. I know everybody has their own favorite brand, what they like to use for pea oil. Mine is Freol. That's what I like. I used to use nothing but, I don't know, I can't remember the name of that stuff now. But it's stuff that everybody swears by and it's the best, blah blah blah, and it's good stuff, and I used to use it, but once I found this Freol a couple years ago, I stopped using all the other stuff. Thrust is a real good one that I used to use. I do not use that anymore. What I will do is go put this truck in neutral in a minute, so that as I want to take these out, I can turn this drive shaft and make these bolts easier to get to. But since it's up on jack stands, and since I spray a little bit in the back side of these, since it's up on jack stands, and since I have the front wheels chalked, it's not going to hurt anything to put it in neutral. Like, the truck's not going to fall on me. But so that's the project. So here's another thing: always mark your drive shaft. Okay, and mark it like that, so I know which way I took it out, and I put it back the same. Now, it will go the other way, no problem. It'll fit right in there. But I have had issues in the past because when they balance a drive shaft, you don't know which way they balanced it. And they may have balanced it as all one unit. They may have balanced it separate. You don't know. So they'll just tell me to line these back up. That's where I need to line them up when I put them back together. And you want to put it back in the same way you took it out. It's a very good idea to do that. Save yourself a lot of headache later. I see why I don't make a lot of these videos. I have grease all over my GoPro. But anyway, I took all the connections off down at that end. I took them off down at this end. So now you just stick a pry bar in there and pop that universal joint out and the drive shaft will come out. I saved the last bolts on this for last. That's the noise I hear. This is the noise I hear going down the road. Just at a much higher rate, and at first it sounded like air whistling through, like, I don't know, through something, but that's what it sounds like going down the road. That thing is shot. And there it is. I label everything, as you can tell, back, front. You know, a lot of it you really don't need to, but I do it anyway. You really can't beat it. See, these are like, that was like welded in there, that bearing cup. These are probably shot. They don't feel that good at all. It should be nice and smooth. They need to be changed. But that one is going to be a problem because that's bent. Somebody's had this drive shaft out before and they bent that over, so that cup ain't going to go in there that easy. But there's a weight right there. There's a weight right there. See what I mean? These things are weighted, so you want them to go back in the same way. But anyway, this, see how that moves like that? As the rear axle goes up and down as you're going down the road, this split shaft, this goes in and out. It allows flex this drive shaft so you don't just snap it. See? And that's it. So that's our problem. That's what needs changed. But we got to split this drive shaft first. What a nightmare. I cannot get those two universals out at all. I got it out of that end. That was a nightmare. And that one there, another nightmare. This is a ball joint press for putting ball joints in and out. It took me over an hour and a half to get those two out. That's ridiculous. They should have been out in 10 minutes. What a nightmare. The other ones I can't get out. I've been spraying. That's the other stuff. PB Blaster. I had a couple spare cans of that, so I've been soaking them over there in it. Just burning up that fluid. But I can't get those out. It's just not happening. I'm not going to sit here and fight with them all day long. I'm going to wait till my buddy's got time later. I'm going to take him over to his place. He's got a shop press, and we're going to stick them in there and I'll press them right out. And then I'll put the new ones in. Okay, so the new universal joints are in. There, there, and there. This is the new carrier bearing. That is in. So now it's time to put it back in the truck. Our problem was, once this was separated, we went to pull this off so that we can get the carrier bearing off. Online it says you have to press these ones off. We used an air hammer from the back side and just hit it. Little there, little there, little there, little there, and it came right off. And then when we put it back on, you can slide a piece of pipe down over the shaft and like tap it to get it on, but we just tapped it this side, that side, back and forth with a punch, went right on. And we did the same thing with this ring right here that kind of inserts into that bearing, and that went right on, no problem. But this, we pulled out on it and it wouldn't come off. And we know some older styles, there's a clip in there. Sometimes just this piece unscrews off of that and then it separates and it comes off. But nothing would work and we couldn't get it off. Finally, we just grabbed onto this. We had this part in a vise. We grabbed onto this and just yanked on it and it came right off. And then we put it back on the same way and everything worked perfectly fine. And apparently that's how you're supposed to do it, I guess. So anyway, now it's time to get this thing back on. Alright, it's in. Sorry I didn't film that part, but with a two-piece drive shaft like this, you struggle with it a little bit. You know, it always wants to pivot, so I had to put a jack stand under this end. And then I held the center up, put the two bolts and nuts in there just loose to hold it in place. Then I put the front end up and bolted that in. Then came back here, tightened this end back down, and then tightened up the center. So that is pretty much that. I'm going to start it up and let it warm up while I clean these tools up, and then take it for a ride and see how it sounds. Well, it appears the sound is gone. I don't hear anything, which sounds great. The problem is I got grease all over my jacket, and look at my seat. Oh, it's always something. Anyway, so I'll get that cleaned up, but I like to wear these gloves. See these, they're the vinyl gloves, the rubber gloves, whatever you want to call them. I like to wear them when I'm working on everything. Cars, trucks, mowers. It's just so much easier to throw a pair of them on, do what you gotta do, and then take them off and throw them out, and done. You know, you keep the, instead of going through 100 rags, I mean, I still use rags and stuff anyway in the garage, but it makes it easier. But anyway, I went up this morning and I bought 2 boxes of those. I get them right at Harbor Freight, and I buy the heavy duty ones, as you can see there. But I got home and I realized that I had bought the medium ones instead of the extra large. And yeah, those aren't going on my hand. So I'm gonna run those up and take them back and exchange them for the ones that I need. And then I showed you guys, I think in an earlier part of this video, the penetrating oil I use called Freol, and I am about out of that, so I'm running to the store where I get that to get another case of it. I picked up another case of grease this morning because mowing season's here. Well, it's going to be here soon, and I go through a lot of greasing these mowers, and what I use is Lucas Red and Tacky. That's the type of grease that I use. So I order it by the case. I don't even, off the top of my head, I can't even tell you what I pay for the case, but I order it through Napa, and it's 12 tubes of it, which will get me through the season, or should. But anyway, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to throw the plow on the other truck and go fill the gas tank up, because they're calling for some freak storm that's supposed to go from tonight, or yeah, from later today into tomorrow afternoon, which would be Friday. And they were originally calling for 6 to 8 inches. Now they changed it from like 8 to 14 inches, which is freaking crazy. It's like, it's 41 degrees out. It feels colder than hell though. It's a little bit windy and the temperature is dropping fast. It might even be below 40 now, but the high for today is 41, and it's going to be about the same tomorrow. So that means any snow that we get is going to be heavy, wet snow. So we will see. I'm cruising right along. I'm doing like 65 and a 40 right now. cruising down this road and just to see if this bad boy's gonna make any noise. You can really tell when I open this window. It's cold. All I hear is wind. No noise. Problems fixed. Woohoo! Was not the pinion bearing. That makes me happier than hell. So, anyway, another problem fixed, and stay tuned, because if we do get all this snow, then you'll have a video tomorrow. I'll record whatever I go out plowing tonight. I'm kind of hoping we don't get it, or if we do get it, it's very minor, but we'll see. Heavy duty, extra large. Those are the right ones. I got 2 boxes of them bad boys. They're $9.99 a box, and they do make, got you at an angle there, just kind of chilling up there. They do make, those are heavy duty. They do make like extreme duty or something. Excuse me, the extreme duty are like $12.99 a box. Those are $9.99 a box. I've bought the extreme duty, and I don't really notice any difference between the extreme duty and the heavy duty. So buy what you want, but I've beat the hell out of those, and they don't rip that much. They usually do the job and do a pretty good job at that. So that's just what I do. Do what you want.